for inside-out understanding. All right, I live in Moortown, Vermont. My field is really prevention of problem behaviors and the promotion of well-being. I worked in the field of prevention since 1968. Wrote a book about the subject. To me, mind as a fact is the fact that we are alive, that there is some life force in us. But without it, we would not exist. That it's connected to the energy that's behind all life. And, you know, it's a clear fact that there is some life force in us, because without it we would be dead. We wouldn't be able to experience anything. That is a fact. Now, what that fact means for our lives, that's a different story. But just to reckon with that as a fact. Secondly, it's a fact that we have consciousness. That without consciousness we would not be able to experience life. We would have no awareness of life. That's a fact. Thought. It's a fact that we think, that we have this creative gift to come up with anything in our minds. Now, what people don't realize about these three facts is that we can have no experience whatsoever that isn't our own thinking coming into our consciousness and giving us, drawing from all possibilities of mind. And giving us whatever we are experiencing of life. So, people think that we get a direct experience of life from whatever's in the outside world, like the situation you find yourself in, or the circumstances that surround you, or other people, what they do to you, and how we take those in, and that gives us a feeling. That's what people think. That we take those things in from the external world, and it gives us a feeling, and that it's reality. And when people realize that that's not the way it is, that whatever feelings we get out of life, whatever feelings we feel in life, and whatever we are seeing as reality is not reality with a capital R, but it's only our creation of our reality with a small r. And those realities can be at any one of a zillion levels of consciousness. And the other part of it is the fact that mind, being universal, is, it's the energy of all things, so it covers all things. It also, if it's all things, it's also one. It's really hard to wrap one's head around that. It's all and it's one. And as one, it's the purest part of itself. So that means that it contains, I don't know if that's the right word, but as it has as part of it, it is pure peace of mind. It is pure, or I should say pure peace, because it's bigger than our minds. It's pure peace, it's pure love, it's pure wisdom, it's pure understanding. And that is what comes into our consciousness pure. That is our connection to universal mind through our pure consciousness. uncontaminated by anything. And then we get to contaminate it with our use of our creative power of thought. And we, you know, even people who know this, like myself, get caught up in life because it really does look like reality. So if we get bummed out about something, it really does look like it's reality out there that's making us bummed out. And then, you know, when we have this understanding, but we might not see it immediately, we might get caught up, but then it's like, oh, you know, once you see it, it's, you just realize that, to realize it's your own creation. Your own misery is your own creation. I mean, that's pretty humbling. And it changes everything to see that. I mean, how seriously can you take yourself in light of the fact that you're making it up?
So some people will say, well, you know, maybe my husband's beating me or something, I can feel the physical pain and I'm not making that up, that's real. What would you say to something like that?
Well, you know, the action perpetrated against that person is very real. There is no question about that for 1 second. How one experiences that, how one takes that in, what they make of that for themselves, what it means for their life, that's all thought. In a training of mine, there were 2 women who both were severely sexually abused, well, they were raped around age, well, when they were teenagers. One of them, what she made of that for herself was that it ruined her life. That she was damaged goods, that that meant that she really didn't have to care about anything in life. She was totally worthless. She got heavily into drugs, sold drugs, prostituted herself to get money to buy drugs, and that's what her life became. I mean, she pulled herself out of it. Her thinking changed enough to settle down with a family, but she was still a mess until she came upon the 3 principles. But the other woman said to herself, you know, that was a really horrible thing that happened, but I am not going to let it ruin my life. And she lived her life as if her life, that she was fine. So the same external event, yet 2 different experiences of that event. Why? Because they used their creative power of thought in different ways. Both of the way they used their creative power of thought came into their consciousness, made whatever they were seeing about it look like reality, but there were 2 different realities.